The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. The shepherds went in haste to Bethlehem and found Mary and Joseph and the infant lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known the message that had been told them about this child. All who heard were amazed by what had been told them by the shepherds. And Mary kept all these things, reflecting on them in her heart. Then the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, just as it had been told to them. When 8 days were completed for his circumcision, he was named Jesus, the name given to him by the angel before he was conceived in the womb. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Last year, we had just moved into our house right before Christmas, and we never really got the Christmas decorations unboxed. And so this year, when I went to go unbox the decorations, I had to go find them all because they were still all packed up from the movers. And in fact, some of the decorations hadn't been unpacked from the previous move. Those of you who are in the military may recognize this, that sometimes you don't get everything unpacked in between moves. Well, anyway, I decided this was the time to organize all our Christmas decorations, and I came to the realization that we actually had 4 creches. I have no idea how we ended up with 4 nativity scenes, but we have 4 nonetheless. And each of them are actually from a different part of our life. We put up the fancy one this year because we have room in the house, but I also put up the small wooden one that's kind of special to me. I like that. You see, I like Christmas. I like it a lot. I like the kitschy parts of it. Last week, Father talked about all the silly Christmas carols, remember? Well, I sing all those Christmas carols, as well as the sacred ones too, because I really do like Christmas, just the whole part of Christmas. But then the house guests go home after Christmas Day. You pack all the sheets up, you wash everything, you get the house back into order. And there's a temptation to keep packing and just put away Christmas. But that wouldn't be fair, would it? It would sort of be like eating the hors d'oeuvres and never getting to that savory meal that your host has prepared for you. You see, it's completely understandable that we would stop at all the fun stuff, but there's so much more, isn't there, to Christmas? There is the baby Jesus, who is our Savior. And if we don't spend a little more time looking at that nativity scene and realizing that it represents real people, there's a tendency to make those people, Mary, Jesus, and Joseph, just statues. Christmas Eve, if you were here, you would have seen the kids come up. This is the first time that Jesus was in the manger, right? You ever notice they come right up and they look at them eye level with the camels. They want to see the baby Jesus eye to eye because they're alive to them. How do we make Mary, Jesus, and Joseph alive to us? You see, they really were real people. They were fully human, living in the same world as us, yet there's this mystery of God among us also that's present. In the gospel today, Mary sees this. She doesn't understand it, but she holds it in her heart, not wanting it to let it go, to hold on to it. And that's what we're called to do. Hold on to Christmas a little bit longer, that these people might come alive to us. The feast we celebrate today comes from this challenge to see this mystery as something real that happened in this world for real people, and hold on to that mystery. See, this is the feast of Mary, Mother of God. In Greek, the term is Theotokos. Theotokos more properly means God-bearer. This seems ordinary to us now. We would say, Mary, Mother of God, and we would just have it trip off our tongue. And in fact, we might just think of it as something we say about Mary. But it's really quite profound if you think about it. You see, this was a debate that actually really went back and forth in the early church. Boy, I mean, people were actually rioting in the streets over this, okay? This is something actually very profound. To think of a human, a woman, holding God inside of her. Was Jesus truly God? Was Mary truly human? Was Jesus truly human? And you see, to not see this mystery in this is to not see the potential of Jesus, God among us, as fully human. Mary holds the key to part of this mystery. Jesus is revealed to us as God in the Passion and the Resurrection. Yet the child's birth to a very real and a very human mother, Mary, reveals Jesus as human as well as God. Mary is the perfect tabernacle that first held God among us. And the Council of Ephesus decreed in 431 that Mary is Theotokos because she carries Jesus, one person, two natures, divine and human, who's intimately joined in this person, Jesus, and is her child, whom she carries and then shows to us, the world. That's the mystery. That's the good part. We recite those words, Mary, Mother of God, with an ease of a Hail Mary. And it can have little effect on us. We might even just say it and maybe just as trite as listening to a Christmas carol at the gas station. It may not affect us at all. But if you think about that, that means that there was a woman who held God, that God came to us human like us, and lived in this world and saw things and did things that we know, we experience, we see, that happen to us even now. We know that Mary is a real woman who accepted the life of her child. And Joseph was a real man who chose to take Mary into his home and protect the child that was not his. Are there not single mothers in the world today in need of care, of health, and support? If we see Mary, Jesus, and Joseph as real people, we can see Jesus in those women today, in those children today. If we see Jesus among us, then we also see that we must be Joseph, we must be Mary. Mary, in her powerlessness, was forced from her home and had to give birth in a stable. Are there not poor and homeless today, those powerless among us who call out for our help? See there in those people Jesus among us. If we see Jesus, then we also see that we must be Joseph. We must be Mary. Mary and Joseph fled from Israel to Egypt as refugees. They fled for their lives from political violence. Joseph protected Mary, and Mary sheltered the child. Globally, Today, there are 66 million people who are refugees. A majority of those are women and children. This is more than at the end of World War II, and it is the largest displacement of humanity in the world ever. If we see Jesus among them, if we see Jesus in them, then we see we must be Joseph, we must be Mary. In time, Mary would be widowed, and she would bury her son. Sons should bury their mothers. In times of war and violence, though, mothers bury their sons. Among us are parents who have lost their children to war and violence, who deserve our honor and our respect. See there in them Jesus among us. If we see Jesus, then we also see that we must be Mary, we must be Joseph. Mary lived without sin. To do so, she must have had grace. Every single day, she must have had grace. She must have used that grace for joy, forgiveness, and strength. Each day we need grace for joy, for forgiveness, and for strength. Look at this creche in front of us and be reminded that Jesus is here among us, bringing his grace. And if we see Jesus here among us, we also see Joseph among us. We also see Mary, Mother of God, among us. They are alive to us and no longer just statues in the stable.